So, as you know, we finished inside JavaScript module before your vacation or your holiday, and now we will start a new module here. So, if you go here inside JavaScript, we finish it. Now we have a new module which is called Behavior Strategy and Implementation. It's 2 weeks. After that, we will have separation of concern, which is very important also, and including the DOM, which will be 2 weeks as well. Let's focus on this one, which is called behavior strategy and implementation. Of course, if you go to the repo here, you can just, if you want to, you need to create your own fork, like normally we do, because there are some exercises you need to solve. And yeah, I think that's it. You just need to create your fork and voila. So you will have, of course, this repo when you just create your own fork, because that's the repo we will have. If we go to lesson plans here, we click on the lesson plans here. In week 1, we will have something called solution write-ups and function design. And we have one deliverable, which will be one small project, which is called solution write-ups. This solution here, you will do it individually, of course. And week 2 is just code review. I mean, you need to know how to, if someone has code, you need to know how to format his code, lint his code, how to provide a review for his code. That's simply like that. So we can focus now on our jobs. The first thing here, solution write-up for today. But before we go to this thing here, we need to explain a few concepts here. Voila. So first, we need to understand what is behavior and strategy and implementation. Of course, you need to create a new check-in issue here with all the learning objective as normal, of course. So let's just click on this one. Let's see what's behavior here. So again, we have something, of course, we do it for function normally. So function, why? Because function are action here, and we need somehow to describe these actions. First, we have something called behavior. Second one, we have something called strategy. And third, we have something called implementation. Can anyone tell me what is the behavior or what is the function behavior? Any idea what is function behavior? Yeah. It's quite, I think I talk about it a lot. What's the function behavior? Harley? What do you think function behavior is? Harley? Okay, Anton, what do you think function behavior is? If you don't know, try to guess.
I don't know, just the input output, like some
behavior.
Yeah.
It's a action.
some algorithms.
But two of you are talking at the same time, so I cannot understand. Anton, what did you tell, Anton?
The function doing something. So the behavior of the function is a action.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, but the behavior of the function means it's what function is doing. For example, if I have a function which adding 2 numbers, so what is the behavior of this function? The behavior of this function is adding 2 numbers.
It accepts some parameters and after that give you some output. I don't know, it's input output.
Yes, but again, the behavior is just not only
some data.
Yes. It's not just the input and the output. First, to make it very simple, the behavior of the function here simply is what's the function doing. For example, if I have a function which adding 2 numbers, if I go here, for example, to this testing, and I created a small function, which is, for example, I say const add, and here add, it will take 2 numbers, let's say A and B, and adding these 2 numbers, as you can see. So here, what is the behavior of this function here? Well, the behavior of this function is adding 2 numbers, simply like that. Of course, it's taking 2 numbers, as you said. So here I have a parameter. I need to know what the parameters of the function taking, and also what the function doing. So that simply is the behavior of the function. Again, what is the function behavior? The function behavior is what is the function doing. And I need somehow to describe the behavior of my function. So again, What does the function do? That's what is the behavior of the function. It's what the function do, what argument it take, and what is the return value. And of course, here I need to understand something. I need to know how to describe the behavior of my function. To describe the behavior of my function, I have 3 ways to do that. Actually, I want you to focus on these two ways. The majority is this one here. If you can do that, it will be good. If you cannot, we'll leave it later. We will learn it while we're doing project. So first, how can I describe the behavior of my function? Well, first, I need to document my function. I mean, I think you already know how to document your function, right? Yes. So to document our function, normally we use something called geosdoc, if you remember. So if I go to this function, I have simple function here. This function repeating a string number of times. So my function here the function I need to create here, it should take a string, it should take a number, and this number here, if the number is 1, it's going to repeat the string 1 time. If it's 2, it will repeat the string 2 times. If it's 3, it will repeat it 3 times, and so on and so on and so on. That's the example we take here. So how can I describe the behavior of my function? Well, first I need to document my function. So here, as you can see, /**, and of course your VS Code is going to help you to create this structure. The first thing I need to write inside my function here is what my function doing. So here it will be a simple English, try to make it not long, not short, to the point exactly what the function is doing. So here repeating a string a specific number of times or repetition number of times. So that was my function doing first. And after that, I will leave 1 space and then parameter. Here I need to define my parameter. So here I have, for my function, I have 2 parameters. So at param, and here I need to define in curly brace here, just like an object curly brace. I need to define the data type here for my parameter. So the first parameter is text here. So the data type is string. And I can give my function a default value. Here, if I have a default value, I need to use square bracket and the name of my parameter and equal to the default value. So if the user called my function without passing the text here, it will be an empty string. And of course, I need to say the string to repeat. And then second parameter, it's number, repetitions. And here it's equal to 1, that's the default value. How many times to repeat the string? And of course, now here I have return. Return here, it will be string, because if I repeat a string number of times, I will have a string simply. And here I will just say the text repeated as many times as repetition. So that's the first step to describe the behavior of my function. Is the idea clear?
Yes.
Good. So what is the second step? Well, the second step, by the way, there's nothing new to teach you in this module. You already know most of them. Well, there's a little bit small stuff to learn. So already, to describe the behavior of my function, first, I need to document my function. Second, I can write unit testing. And I already know how to write unit testing, of course, using jest. So here, I'm just going to import my function. And then here, I can use describe to group my test. And after that, here, I can use either it or test. And here should repeat 0 times. Why? Because here, if I pass to my function an empty string and 0, so here I'm just repeating 0 times. So it will be an empty string simply. If I repeat empty string 10 times, it will be empty string, because empty string simply include nothing. If I repeat it 100 times, it will still be an empty string. And here, if I have if and I repeat it 0 times, it will be empty string, because I'm repeating it 0 times, and so on and so on and so on. So, so I'm going to write all my tests. And of course, my function need to pass all these tests, as you can see. Is the idea clear here? Yes?
Yes.
Yeah. Of course, I will take an example here after we finish, but anyway. So to describe the behavior of my function, first, I need to document my function. And of course, to document my function, I need to use GSdoc, as you can see. It makes everything simple. Describe my function. Second, I can write unit testing. And with unit testing, of course, we are using just to write some tests to make sure that our function is doing as we are expecting to do. That's second. Third, here, use cases or real use cases here. So if you know, for example, the function you create, you can use it in real project. You can just put it, for example, here, real project. If you don't know, that's fine, because when we build a project, and we build a lot of projects, starting from the next module here, which is because we will study the DOM and also separation of course, and after that we will do a lot of projects. So if you don't know this one, it's fine, it's not a problem. But if you know some example, you can use this function, you can just write the examples. Here, for example, they are saying, well, if I want to repeat, for example, I can just have a text, like an input, and ask the user to give me a text, and then I can ask the user to give me a number, and after that here, I can repeat the string number of times, then I can show the user here. Use my function to repeat the string and then show my string. I don't think in real life that we will have something to website to write my text and then repeat it sometimes. But anyway, that's not, I mean, it's not unlogical. It's okay. It's just an example here. Yes. Again, that's not super important. Why? Because, I mean, a real example, when we build a project, we will know how to use it in a real example. But if you know some example, and you see, for example, you have a function, you document it, you write test, you know, some maybe a real example you can use, it's not a bad idea to write, for example, an example. Is the idea clear?
Yeah.
The rest, you're sleeping?
Yeah, yes.
Yes.
Good. So we know now what is the behavior. So the behavior simply is what my function doing, what parameters taking, what is the return value. How can I describe the behavior of my function? Well, I can just document my function and write unit testing. Okay, what is strategy then? Well, strategy here is, it's a plan. It's a plan to solve a problem. So whenever I have any stuff here, I'm not writing any coding documentation here, by the way. And here I'm just writing some unit testing. Until now, I did not write any function, by the way. So I just document my function. And here I just write some unit testing to it here. And that's it here. My function is still empty. Now I need to come with plan. So what is the plan? Well, the plan here is just normal English text. So just English here. And here I need to write some plan to solve this problem. So how can I solve this problem? I want to create a function which take a string and a number, and now I need to repeat this string number of times. How can I solve this problem? For example, I can say here, well, there is many different strategy. And by strategy, I mean plan to solve this problem. For example, here they are proposing 4 different plans. I can iterate until the string is long enough. So what I can do here, as you can see, the strategy here is just normal English text. It's just like when we're planning to do our project. So here they are saying, okay, I can calculate the final length of the new string. For example, if I have a text and here the repetition is 5, I know the length of the text. So let's say the length of the text is 4. I know the repetition here, and I can just multiply the text by repetition, and it will give me the final length. So I know when I repeat this string 5 times, I know the final length. Then maybe I can create a new string, I will create a new variable, and it will be an empty string. Then I can iterate through this string here, as long as the new string is less than the final length I calculated. So I'm gonna loop through as long as the string I create, the new string, the new variable I create, it's smaller than the final length. Because if it's smaller than the final length, that means I need to repeat the string again. And like that, I will stop until when my new string here it's equal to the final length. If that's the case, that means I need to stop. I reach what I want to. So that's simply one strategy. It's just normal English text, as you can see, and I'm writing some plans here. Remember something? When I'm writing a plan to solve any problem, I don't have one plan. I don't have one strategy. I could have multiple strategies. And we've shown that here. To do anything in JavaScript or any programming language, I could have multiple plan, multiple strategy. So here I can write whatever I think I can do here. For example, here they are doing the same here. They are repeating the string number of times, but they are not calculating the final length. Here, for example, they are using recursion, or here that's the easiest one here. Well, if I need to check if the language has any built-in function I can use to repeat my string. There is something quite important here. when I describe my strategy here, so when I'm trying to put a strategy to solve a problem, the strategy is not related to any programming language. That means I am not allowed to say, for example, I need to use repetition. So in string here in JavaScript, in string has a method called repeat, and I can use this one. You are not allowed to do that here. Why? Because the strategy is not related to any programming language. It's just a general idea to some steps here, logical step to solve a problem. So here, during the strategy, you should not mention any future, language future. For example, I cannot say, I can use string.repeat here, or I can use for loop, or I can use like that. You will just say iterate or loop, that's it. So you will not define any language future here, because the strategy should work with any programming language. I mean, if your steps are correct, you can do the same step with any programming language and it will work. Is what I'm saying is okay or not? Yes?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Again, try to be here in the strategy. It's just a plan, a normal English plan. I'm going to just write some step to solve this problem. And remember here, in the strategy, I will not mention any language feature. So I will not talk about JavaScript because my plan should work for any programming language. It doesn't matter what programming language I'm using. Because here I'm saying iterate until the string is long enough. I can use it with C, C++. I can use Java for that. I can use any programming language. It's not related to one programming language. It's just a plan to solve the problem. Same here. And that's simply what is strategy. So the strategy simply is some steps to solve this problem. How can I solve this problem? Well, I will write just certain step here in normal English. Is the idea clear? Yes?
Yes.
Good. Implementation, that's the interesting thing. So in the implementation, what I'm going to do, let's take this simple plan. Now here, that's my strategy. Now I need to implement it in JavaScript. So that's what implementation means. So now I will take this plan and I will implement it in JavaScript. And of course, when I implement it in JavaScript, I need to talk about which type of loop I'm going to using. Am I going to use while loop or for loop? I'm going to use break or not? I'm going to use a repeat method or not? So here in the implementation here, now I am implementing it in JavaScript. So here I need to mention simply, I will just translate this plan into code in JavaScript. So here I will just translate this plan I write or this strategy I write into JavaScript future, simply like that. And as you can see, we have many different implementation here. I will do practical example now anyway. So that's the idea. You need to remember something. A function, or two or three or more functions, they could have the same behavior. So many functions could have the same behavior. What do I mean by the same behavior? Well, I mean, I told you the behavior is what function is doing, what parameter is taken, what's the return value. Well, we could have created 2 or 3 different functions which will have the same behavior because they are doing the same job. Repeat a string, I can do it in many different ways. So all these functions, they have the same behavior because they are doing the same job. But I could have different strategy, different plan, and also different implementation. Why different implementation? Because when I write my code in JavaScript, I could write it in many different ways. So remember that one behavior, different implementation simply. Of course, different strategy as well. Is the idea clear? Yes, no?
Yes.
Great. So what I'm going to do now, I have this text editor. I'm going to go in here, just an example. Test or testing, it doesn't matter really. Okay. I'm going to delete this one. Yeah, I don't need that actually. So let me click on this one here. Let's try to describe again what is behavior strategy implementation in a real example, so it will be easy for you. So my function here was going to do, I will pick the same function here, which is repeat a string simply like that. So now what I need to do first, I need to, so here, my function, and what I need to do here, I need to repeat a string number. of times, or specific number of times. That's my challenge here. So first, now I need to describe the behavior of my function. So what will be the behavior of my function? How can I describe the behavior of my function? What was the first step? What is the first step?
To explain what it will do.
Parameters.
So I need to document my function.
Document
I
the
need
function.
to document my function here. So what I'm going to do here, I can just write description. And description, as you can see, by the way, I can add description as well. Repeat a string number of times. If you don't like the description, you can delete it. That's fine for me. So repeat a string a number of times. Okay. After that, what parameter I need? Well, I need two parameters. The first parameter, it will be string. I can name it str, the string to repeat. And now here, I will give it a default value. Why? Because simply, I mean, it's a good idea to have a default value. I will give it the default value, an empty string, simply like that. Okay, what was the second parameter? Well, the second parameter, it will be a number. Why? Here, I will not name it num. Maybe I can, okay, let me name it num. The number of time to repeat the string, as you can see. Now I need to return value. Of course, the return value, it will be a string, because when I repeat a string number of time, I will also have a string, the repeated string, simply like that. So I did the first step, as you can see. So the first step here, it was document my function simply, and here I document my function. The second step here, I need to write test for my code here. So what I'm going to do here, well, I can just write my function. Actually, I'm not gonna put any code. I'm gonna just put this one. Voila, that's my function. Voila. So as you can see, my function repeat string here. I name it repeat string. It takes a string as str as a parameter. So first parameter is the default value is empty string. The second value is num, or whatever you want to call it. Repetition, it will be a good naming. And the default value is 1, and that's my function. Of course, now I need to export my function, as you know. So let's export default repeat string like that. And now here, I need to import my function here, of course. Let's try to import it here. Import. It was a repeat string, if I'm not mistaken, from main.js. Now I need to write some tests here for my function. As you can see, I already have some tests, lucky for me. So what I need to do here, I will try to know here what I need to do. I need to just say repeat a string number of times. Why? Because I'm trying to test this function. So I'm gonna just do that. Simply here, if I try to repeat hello, if I repeat hello 2 times, what do you think it will give me? So if I repeat hello 2 times, what it will give me? Well, it give me hello and hello like that, right? If I'm trying to repeat hello 2 times, what do you think it will give me? Hello, well, it will repeat it. Yeah, it will repeat it 2 times. So now here in expect, I need just to replace my function. Let's delete this test. I just need one test. And now, as you can see, when that's my function. Now I need to pass hello, as you can see. But of course, I'm not going to pass one parameter because my function takes 2 parameters. The second parameter, I want to repeat it 2 times. Of course, if I'm going to repeat hello 2 times, it should give me hello, hello, as you can see. Voila. And voila, as you can see. I wrote the first test. Now I can write many other amazing tests, whatever I want to here. If I repeat hello, as you can see, 0 times, it will give me empty string, as you know. We've seen this one. And here I can just write many tests as I want to. Here, if I repeat it -1 times, here it should give me also an empty string, as you can see. So I will write all my unit testing here. And that's the second step here to describe the behavior of my function. The third one is if I have any real example. I don't have currently any real example. So that's simply, I describe the behavior of my function. Now I need to come now to the strategies. And strategies here simply is the plan to solve this problem. So what I can do here, simply, of course, you can have an MD file to write everything, and you will have in the template MD file to write everything. But for me, I'm going to write it maybe here. I will just write it here. Behavior. Here, I will just say strategy like that. So to solve this problem, of course, I have many ways to do that. So let's take the easiest way. So the easiest way here, for example, I can just say, I can simply say, voila, check if there is a built-in function to repeat a string. So my plan here, my strategy, my plan here is very simple. I'm saying okay, whatever the language is, I don't care. I want to check if there is a built-in function or a built-in method to repeat this string. So if I'm using JavaScript or Python, or it doesn't matter here. In the strategy, I am not talking about any language in programming language. I'm talking about just how to solve the problem. So that's my first strategy. My second strategy here, what I can do here, well, I can try to use a loop here. How? Well, I can just add the second strategy here. What I can do, I can just create a new variable, new string here, and I will name it I just name it my str, for example. Voila. My str is equal to like that. And now here, I have my new variable here. Now what I can do, I can loop number of times. Remember, I have the number of times here. So simply, now I can loop as long as the iterator here in my loop is less than this one, less than num. Remember, I'm starting from 0. So 0 here, if it will be one time here. So what I can do here, I can just say loop through the string and add, so I can add whatever str to my str here. And here the condition will be until, I just say as long as, and the num here, well, simply you can just say the iterator here, it will be less than num, simply like that. And here I can now return my str. Voila. Do you understand this code here, what I'm trying to do? Or not?
Yeah.
Yes, no? Okay, so just as you can see, I wrote two different strategies, strategy 1, strategy 2. And I can, of course, tell that strategy 1, that strategy 2. Of course, I can now come up with many different strategies, many different plans to solve the problem. But for now, I'll just stick with just 2 examples. Now it comes the implementation. I need now try to implement. So how can I implement? Well, I already have my plan, as you can see. I will go with plan 1, try to implement it, check if it's passing the test, everything is fine. And then if I want to, I can also implement the plan 2 if I want to, the strategy 2. Okay, so how can I implement the first strategy? I need to check here the language. Now, when I'm implementing, I need to use JavaScript. Of course, I'm implementing in JavaScript, so I need to know, is there any method in JavaScript to repeat the string? Well, lucky for me, yes. So I can just say here simply, I can just say return str repeat now. Voila. That's the first here. So I translated this plan, this strategy into implementation, and actually it will work. Simple like that. Okay, fine. It's fine. And here, of course, here, if I pass my test, everything should be fine. So there is no problem with everything. Why? Because I know my function is working. Simple like that. Don't worry, the repo I will give you here, the template repo, you will include everything. So you have no problem. Let's try to implement the second strategy. Now, to implement the second strategy here simply, well, my plan was to create a new variable. So I can just say, what do I name it here? I name it my str, for example. That's my str. Here, it will be an empty string. Now here, simply I can loop here. I can use for loop. Why? Because I'm saying I want to loop as long as I is less than num. So I can just say let I is equal to 0 as long as I is less than num, I plus, and I'm adding this string, and then after that I just need to return my string. That's another implementation, as you can see. So I have, as you can see, 2 different ways. Of course, you can come up as long as you, or as much as you want. Is the behavior and strategy and implementation is clear for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For everyone? Yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
Remember something very important. The behavior is the same. This function and the function before, they're doing the same job. They are repeating string number of times. So the behavior is the same, but the implementation here is different. I just use different. Here I use for loop. There I use just built-in function or built-in method, simply like that. And voila, simply that's simply behavior, strategy, and implementation. Click on that. Click. VM. Now what we're going to do here, let's see what we should do for today. Well, we will go to something called solution write-up here. So if I click on this one here, solution write-up, so of course, if you go to solution write-up, it's a repo here. This repo has an example. Now we will go through the example to see how we can how we can do the job we are trying to do. And after that, you have a challenge here. And the challenge here, it will be, you need to create an example here, which is quarter of the year. And there is another challenge here, which is add up number from a single number. For example, let's go to the quarter of the year. I already have this example. So what you need to do, you need to go to this repo simply. Of course, EDABate here, this website here, EDABate or Code War or Late Code, whatever. Here in EDABate, you have an example here. We are explaining an example in the solution write-up. So you know you need to read it, you need to understand it, and after that, you can do this challenge here, which will be add up a number from a single number. So if I pass number 5, for example, it will be 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1 plus 0, and so on. So let's click on this repo and let's go here. As you can see, of course, you will have this repo, and you can also use this template here to create your own project. So the example we are giving you already is called quarter of the year. Why? Because we want you to study this example, so you'll be able to build now or to pass the challenge, because your challenge is, you have a second challenge here, as you can see, and the second challenge here for you, it will be add up a number from a single number. If you click on that, here it will show you this example, of course. So what's that supposed to mean? Well, as you can see here, if I pass 4, it gives me 10. Why it gives me 10? Because what it's going to do here, it will add up number from 1 to 4. So 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, it's 10. If I pass 13, it will be the same. 1 plus 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and then at the end, it gives me 91, and so on. So I need to create a function which will do that here. That's a challenge, simply. And I think here you can write your code. After you write your code, there are solutions here, but you cannot see the solution. So what you need to do here, you need to add your own solution. And when you submit your solution, you will be able to view other people here, if I'm not mistaken. So try to register or log in. Maybe you can see other people's solution. If you did not see them, that's mean you need to do this the challenge first, then you can check other people's solution. But anyway, let's go back to our repo and try to understand what's going on here. So what is this one here? What we're supposed to do? Voila. So what I'm going to do here to make it easy, I'm going to open it in VS Code. Voila. As you can see, you have everything. You have C-spell, you have linting, you have prettier. Everything is set up for you. In the package.json, everything is set up for you. All you have to do, you need to just do npm install to install all these packages. Of course, selint here to lint your code, prettier to format your code. And also, I think you have just, if I'm not mistaken, so you have just also to do your unit testing. So you have everything. And you have all the format here, as you can see here. Fine. So I have this example. Of course, when you do your challenge, you can rename this one. You can rename this one, delete all the file, and after that, add your own file. Or you can just copy this one to copy it. So that will be the structure of your challenge as well. It will be just a folder, and inside the folder, you have different MDs. These different MDs is other people's solution, simply like that. And here it will be your solution. Solution 1, as you can see, solution 1 test.js. And you can come up with different solutions. So solution 2, solution 3.js, and of course with your test and everything. So let's try to see what is the challenge quarter of the year and how this guy, which is called Dannard here, solves this problem. So let's click on this one. As you can see here, of course, you need to read it. And after that, when you do this challenge, you need to do the same. So this guy here, which is called Dannard, and I will have a link to his solution. So yeah, whenever I do the challenge, as I told you, or whenever I log in, I'm not sure if I can sign in. Let's see. Yeah, sign in with Google. I'm not sure. Continue. And I still have no solution. Yes, unlock solution. Oh, voila. So as you can see, a lot of people are different solution for this problem, as you can see. And now my job here to study other people's solution and try to understand what is the behavior. Of course, the behavior of their functions are just trying to find the quarter of the year. But what was their strategy, their plan, and how did they implement it? Simply like that. So you have many different solutions, as you can see. So if I go to this guy, which is called Danner, and of course here, whenever I have different solution, for example, here, this solution here, I can simply copy his solution, or I can just copy this one here if I want to. I think I can go to his solution. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. Copy to code tab, something like that. So yeah, I can just copy this one and paste it there, simply like that. So how this guy solves the problem? So this guy, as you can see, quarter of year, I need to pass a month, and here I have some array, and then I have bracket months. So months here, it will be the index. So what do I mean by a quarter of the year? Well, quarter of the year, for example, if I take January, as the year is divided into 12 months, and if I'm going to make it quarter, I will have 3 months in each quarter. Because here, January, February, and March, it will be the first quarter. April, May, June, it will be the second quarter. And July, so it will be the third quarter. And then September, I think October, November, December, it will be the fourth quarter, something like that. So why is their solution work? Well, the solution works simply here because if I pass a month here, let's say we pass January, and here I have an array here with 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So that will be the quarter 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 4, 4, 4. So if the month is 1, that means give me the bracket or give me the item with index 1. So the index 1 here, it will give me 1. So yes, January belong to the first quarter. If I pass 4, so here 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, it will give me 2. And indeed, I mean the 4 months here, it's belong to the second quarter. As you can see here. So as you can see, that's for, I told you, in the year we have 3 months here. So here they are putting 4 ones, 2, 2, because it's here, this month's coming here, it will be 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, and 4, 4, 4. And you may ask me, why do I have 4 ones? And because normally we have 3 months in each quarter. So why did I put 4 ones here? Or why did this guy put 4 ones? Any idea?
It's because of the index. The first
Yes.
index is 0.
Indeed, exactly. So because if I pass here, normally a month, we don't start from 0. We don't have month 0. We start with 1. That means the index, the first index here, I need to kind of get rid of it here. It doesn't matter really. This index will never be used. So I just give it value 1. So that's what for index 0. And then here, if I have month 1, it will be this one. Month 2, it will be this one. Month 3, it will be this one. 4th month, it will be this one. 5th, it will be this one. And 6th, it will be this one. And then the 7th, it will be this one, and so on, and voila. So as you can see, the solution is very simple, actually, what he's doing. He's just creating an array, and here passing the month and index here. And of course, because the array, the index starts with 0s, that's why they're adding an extra one here to solve this problem simply. So what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to write his strategies. The problem has a small number of possible argument, return value. Dan, which is a guy, choose the strategy of listing all possible solutions and using the index to access the value, simple like that. So here I'm describing what plan this guy used, and then how did he implement it? Well, he just implemented how? He just simply, as you can see, he created an array, and inside the array here, they are passing ones here, each one for each, for the first quarter. As I told you, we have 3 months. So for the first 3 months, he passing 1, and he passed 1 at the beginning for the 0 index, as you know. Then for the other quarter months, they're passing 2 and 3 and 4. So here I'm just saying what different possible what he is using. So he's using arrow function. He's using an array here with different value, and then here he's using the month as an index to access the specific value. Simply like that. Or possible refactor, for example, if you think that this code is not good enough, maybe it has a solution, you can just add possible refactoring. That's simply like that. So the first idea here, as you can see, we are trying to analyze or trying to understand how other people write strategy. Behavior, I know the behavior. So behavior, what the function is doing, I know what the function is doing. But I'm trying to understand how other people come with the plan. So what was their strategy, what was their plan, and how they implemented in JavaScript, simply like that. Is the idea clear? Yes?
Yes.
So you will have this example. I actually do not delete this one. So when you create your own write-up solution here, create a new folder. Like that, you will have always this folder so you can go back to it and see what you're supposed to do. That should be simple here. The other one here, of course, there's another guy, same idea here. So what he's doing here is taking the months plus 11 divided by 3 modulus 4. So it's just using an equation. I don't know what is the equation, but he's using an equation. And if I write his code, it's actually passing the test as well. Same idea here. He's using some kind of equation, as you can see, mass.floor. And here he's doing this equation and then simply after that trying to find a solution. Same idea. You just need to say strategy and what different stuff he's implemented. Well, he used mass.floor here. And after that, he added 11 to the months and then divided by 3, then modulus 4 because we have fourth quarter and then plus 1. So it's just some equation he's using, simply like that. I think if I'm not mistaken, you can just simply get rid of all of that. That would work as well. So I will keep his solution, of course. After that, I will show you my solution. So what you can do here, you can just divide the months by 3 and then use mass.ceil and it should work as well. So it's just maybe a different mathematical equation to calculate this one. That's it. Yeah, after that here, yeah, you need to check if type of number, if the month is less than 1, less than this one. And here also you can use this one, by the way, if else. If the month is greater than 1 or equal to 1 and less than 3, you can return 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. So as you can see, we have many ways actually to solve this problem in JavaScript. And here we are also implementing the strategy and the implementation, what different plans this guy used to solve this problem, as you can see. Voila. And here Remix 2. You don't have to come up with study a lot of people code. So you can do with one person or two, that should be enough. 1 or 2 should be enough. Of course, the more code you read here, it will be better for you, like you learn more. But 1 or 2 should be more than enough. For example, 2 guys, don't do remix here. 2, it will be should be more than enough. After that, you have my own solution. So that's my solution here. My solution, I'm going to take the month divided by 3, then I'm using mass.ceil. Let's try to understand why this works. So if I say months, 1 divided by 3, what will be the result? 0 point something, right? If I take 1 divided by 3, what will be the value? If I divide 1 by 3, what will be the value? 0.3. If I seal it, that means it will give me 1. Actually, it's true, as you can see. That's month 1. If I take, for example, month 4, which should be the second quarter, 4 divided by 3, it gave me 1.3. If I seal it, it will give me 2, as you can see. So that's an easy solution I came up with, as you can see. So just mass.ceil here, and I'm dividing the months by 3. So whenever I divide the month, whatever the month is for, divide by 3, it will give me just, it will give me some number. So yeah, so it give me a number, and then I could simply have some fraction, floating number. I'm sealing this number, and here is this code. It will work. It's very simple code actually, as you can see. So that's what my solution here. I can come up here, my solution. I read some tests for my solution, and I'm passing everything, of course. What I can do here, I can come up with one solution. And remember, solution 1, JS, and I need to have test for it. And then I can create another file, JS file, solution2.js. Solutions that should be more than enough. Is the idea clear what I'm trying to explain? Yes?
Yes.
So now your job is, now I will give you a challenge. And this is what you need to do here. You will go to this repo, of course, which will be, where is my repo? There is a repo here. I'm going to share it with you. So you will need to just simply create a template from this repo. You're going to copy this guy. And here you will rename, copy it, paste it, of course, create a new folder. And you will name the folder depending on what is your challenge is. Your challenge, I think, is add up number. So add dash up dash number. Remember here, you need to use, if the name of the folder, we are using kebab casing here. So if you have multiple words, you need to use kebab casing. Otherwise, here we will encounter some error here. Anyway, so here you can just take some example. As I told you, you can keep this one as a reference for you. So what you need to do, you need to go to Adabit, because the challenge I think is Adabit. And you need to try to add your solutions. Then you will be able to see other people's solution. And you need to somehow to try to describe the strategy and the implementation for 2 different persons. How this person is using And actually, you don't need to solve it. You can just, as I told you, go to the solution and you can see the solution here. So you can do the same idea here. You try to study. Here, you need to name the MD file by the name of the guy, the user, and then .md. And then here, you will just write his code first. You can add his name and then link to his account, simply like that. Then write the function, his implementation, then try to describe his strategy and his implementation, simply like that. And here, if possible, refactor, if you know how to make his code better, that's not a bad idea, simple like that. So you can do it for 2 people, and after that, you need to come up with 1 or 2 solutions. I think the idea is clear, if I'm not mistaken, right? Okay, so when I do npm install, I will have all the library, and here what you can do, you can format your code. You can format check to make everything is okay. You can length your code. You can use spell check, and also you can test your code as well. So what if I say just test here, it will just run all the tests I have here and make sure that my tests are passing or not. So you have everything here, don't worry. Now what you're supposed to do? Well, we've already seen so here we already seen this example, which was solution write-up. Of course, this is the repo I'm going to share with you. And now your challenge is try to do exactly like we did for the quarter of the year. We need to do it for the same, this challenge here, which will be add up number from a single number. And I'm going to share this one for you. As I told you, do not delete this one. Keep it as a reference for you. Just create a new folder and name it using kebab casing. Name is the name of your challenge is add up numbers. So add up numbers here. And then you need to create 2 MD file to check, to try to describe the strategy and the implementation for 2 different people solve this challenge. And after that, try 2 solutions for you with the test, of course. And that is here the template. Is it clear what you're supposed to do? Yes?
Yeah.
Good. I'm going to share it a bit with you as well. So here is this website I've already shared with you. So you need to create an account anyway. Well, that's simply your challenge for today. Of course, you need to create a deliverable issue. It's an individual project. So for everyone, you need to create a deliverable issue. Also, you need to create a check-in issue for the module. Don't forget that, please. And try to solve the problem. And of course, if you have any question, I am here. So that simply is a solution write-up here. And after that, we will describe function design maybe tomorrow. So it depends if you finish everything today here, the function design. And yeah, simply like that. After that, we will just learn a little bit code review. And there is a challenge for code review as well. Question?